Hello and welcome back, guys. Symbiotes. What's the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear this word? Let me guess. Venom. Yes, Venom is the famous and actually the first symbiote to latch onto who else than Spider-Man in the 1984 comic miniseries Secret Wars. Now, we all know how that event turned out and that symbiotes are dangerous beings, but have you ever wondered how they came to be? That's where we come in today, to explore how exactly symbiotes reproduce. So get your popcorn and sit tight as we look at the various aspects of a symbiote's breeding. But before we begin, here's a brief recap of what they actually are. Symbiotes, first introduced in issue 252 of The Amazing Spider-Man from 1984, are an alien race of parasitic life forms, formerly known as Clintar. They were created by the ancient deity Null in the living abyss, or void, as a species of vicious protoplasm. After attaching themselves to someone's body, they can form a symbiotic bond with the host and manipulate their functioning by altering memories and personalities. Okay, I guess we're ready. But before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin.
What the?
Asexual reproduction, the core mechanism. The Marvel Universe documents about 40 known symbiotes other than Venom, like Lasher, Hybrid, Toxin, and the like. Interestingly, all of them have been produced asexually, that is, without the involvement of a partner. How exactly? By budding once per generation, they can give birth to one of their own. Yeah, it's pretty much like an amoebic reproduction that you read about in the biology textbooks. They can also resort to egg-based reproduction, and both of these possibilities were explored in issue 12 of the 2016 comics Venom, Space Knight. Though the newborn inherits genetic memory, powers, and strength from their procreator, there is no existence of a social framework or familial ties. So, if you're born as a symbiote, there's no baby phase. You gotta get going on your own. However, the offspring is way more deadly than their parent. But upon reaching the 1000th generation, the child slips towards a psychotic breakdown, as shown in various interpretations. It's popularly believed that symbiotes have a limited number of seeds, like Venom could give birth to 7 children, while its firstborn, Carnage, had only 3 babies. In this case, the symbiotes born have unique characteristics. But there is another theory which claims that symbiotes can suddenly bud off or split from their parent symbiote into a second one, once they've had enough nutrition. This creates symbiote clones like Patricia Robertson, encountering the tongue symbiote duplicate of Venom. Now, this concept has been further supported by the Maker's revelation in issue 20 of Venom, where he deduces that each Venom symbiote has an ability to sense a cataclysmic event before it comes to Earth, and are created as a response to the impending danger. The birth of Carnage, around the time of Thanos' Infinity Stones hunt, and that of Toxin, right before the Earth's mightiest heroes were shattered in Avengers Disassembled, further prove this point. Every symbiote is first connected after their birth to a hive mind, with their god host, Null. They are also telepathically connected to each other. Even when they form ties with their hosts, it is Null who stays in control, but there are some, like Venom and Carnage, who have broken away from the hive connection and taken their own course. The seed or Codeex concept. Remember when Venom left remnants of itself inside Peter Parker and Eddie Brock's bodies in the 2019 comic storyline of Absolute Carnage? So what was he ideally doing, and what are these leftover pieces? These residual bits of symbiotes, which they leave within their hosts' bodies, are called codices. The work of a codex is to pass on information about the host to the rest of the hive, allowing them to manipulate the host and track the symbiote from which the host has been separated. Interestingly, symbiote bonding has a broader scope. The symbiote hive mind not only learns about their host's personal details, but sometimes the latter's personality also leaves an imprint on both themselves and the symbiote they have been attached to, and consequently on the larger species through the hive mind. While many bonds are simply grounded in practical reasons, others are rooted in deep attachments that can change the story of both the host and symbiote. One great example would be Flash Thompson, the high school bully of Peter Parker bonding with the Venom symbiote, leading to the creation of Agent Anti-Venom and going on missions as one single being. The Codex also serves another function. They work as a record keeper for the symbiotes. Whatever memories, character traits, and personalities the symbiote remembers from its previous hosts are actually stored inside the genetic codex, enabling these swirling black masses to access the information of their former hosts anytime. A symbiote can increase their power by absorbing codices of other symbiotes and temporarily acquire the special features and strengths of that codex's host. The codex inside the bearer's body may be activated upon exposure to another symbiote mass or if triggered by external energy sources such as the light force. However, the fragments of the last symbiote can be tempted to reject or expel the extra symbiote material. Venom: The Last Dance is the first Marvel movie to explore the concept of codices outside the comics. Here, it's said that a codex is formed when a symbiote saves the life of its host, causing their life forces to merge. For instance, in the original film of 2018, when Venom saves Eddie Brock after he's fatally injured by Riot, its codex gets introduced into Brock's body. In the 2024 movie, the codex is a key to Null's prison of Clintar since it can replicate the Clintar bonds that trapped Null in the first place. The codex can thus counter this entrapping process and let Null escape. Basically, codices are meant to keep alive the symbiote's loop of existence even after its original biomass disintegrates. Triggers for reproduction. Like we already discussed, symbiotes have certain survival instincts and reproduce suddenly upon anticipating a global threat. Apart from Carnage and Toxin, other Venom symbiotes like Scorn and Sleeper were born in a seemingly unplanned way at the brink of crisis. As shown in the Venom comics of 2018, Scorn was created around the time of the Chaos War, which shook the entire universe, and Sleeper came in when Null was about to wake up. Thus, though it may seem like the symbiotes have spawned arbitrarily, if you think about it, it wasn't that random after all. Their reproduction has always been triggered by upcoming catastrophes. These mysterious alien beings are genderless and do not have any culture of their own. They tend to pick up the traits and gender of their host, and consequently, we see Venom as a male having bonded with Eddie Brock, while Scream appears to be a female owing to its woman host. However, there is a rare instance in the Marvelverse where a human child, Dylan, was born with an ingrained symbiote codex. After Eddie Brock transferred his Venom symbiote to save Anne Weying, who was lethally wounded by Sin Eater, she transformed into a monstrous form of she-Venom. The two still maintained a normal married life, and after the symbiote returned to Eddie, Anne, who already had the codex inside of her, suddenly found herself pregnant with the symbiote's genetic codex fused with her fetus. She then gave birth to Dylan, who was a human reincarnation of the symbiote codex. As noted in issues 7 to 9 of the 2018 Venom comics by Ryan Stegman and Donny Cates, this is the only case where a symbiote was reproduced biologically, involving sexual intercourse between their hosts. Though this process of reactionary symbiote reproduction has often been depicted in Marvel Comics and been validated by the alternate universe version of an evil Reed Richards, it is not the only circumstance when a symbiote is born. Many occur as a result of experimental cloning or evolutionary spawning, like Mania and Silver. No social structure or parental bond. Though it might seem like the symbiote's bonding with a host is governed by some sort of kinship ties, it is absolutely not the case. Symbiotes have no conventional family structure or traditional values, emphasizing their alien nature. Though they possess superhuman strength, regenerative healing, and heightened agility, often in greater intensity than their parent, symbiotes do not share any deep connection even with their progenitor. There is no true biological relationship between a parent and offspring symbiote, nor a culture of guidance and care for the newborns. Symbiotes have no social hierarchy, kinship, or familial roles. Yep, there are no Thanksgiving turkeys or Christmas dinners for this race of abysmal entities. They indeed draw upon the host's personalities and cultural elements, but it is a mere mirroring of the host's identity, not of the symbiote anatomy or heritage. The only sense of community they have is with the hive mind, an abstract web linking all symbiotes. However, this acts more like a channel for communication and memory sharing rather than acting as a societal unit. In a way, the symbiotes are emotionless and purposeless pieces of parasitic goo whose entire life is shaped by the host. Notable examples: Venom, Carnage, and the Life Foundation. Venom, albeit the most popular symbiote in the Marvel lore, was spawned directly by the ghastly primordial god Null and has itself claimed to be the 998th one of its lineage. Interestingly, Venom has several symbiote children, all of whom were produced in distinct situations. Take the example of Carnage. Venom reproduces asexually when imprisoned in a cell, an event depicted both in the comics The Amazing Spider-Man and the 2021 movie Venom: Let There Be Carnage, with subtle differences. Then, at some point in Venom's existence, the Life Foundation came into the scene and caused multiple symbiote reproductions. This organization, which thrived on scheming the world's nuclear destruction, was convinced that a major nuclear war was around the corner. Desperate to keep the human race surviving in the face of an imminent disaster, the Life Foundation probed Venom and extracted 5 of its seeds. They then cultured these seeds asexually to create 5 symbiotes as the best protectors in the company's security team, the Guardian. Ideally, Venom spawns, and they came to be known as Riot, Scream, Phage, Lasher, and Agony. These symbiotes were even more mutated than Carnage, probably owing to the scientific extraction process or due to the impact of the Earth's environment. Fan reactions to Codeex implantation. Now, we all know that symbiotes leave these little souvenirs in their host's DNA, and these codices help them keep controlling their host's activities. Though the concept was introduced way earlier in the Marvel lore, the maker's findings on this imprinting process in issue 8 of Venom from 2018 elicited hilarious fan reactions. Fans jokingly drew parallels between a Codeex implantation and a sexually transmitted infection. They believe that the creators can now traverse multiple roads, like creating stories around multiple personalities or body snatcher-type narratives. With flagship Marvel characters like Carol Danvers and Deadpool being inflicted by a Codex across various comic timelines, it would be really interesting to see how the entertainment franchise deals with this ticking genetic bomb in the future. Marvelous verdict. Okay guys, that's all for today. This ride into the world, or should I say bodies, of these strange, gooey creatures was indeed chaotic, to say the least. Symbiote reproduction is not only a disorganized process, but also an ominous one. I mean, an intangible black blob creating such powerful and deadly creatures is indeed some dark shit. Be it an egg-based procreation or a haphazard budding, these reproductive practices challenge the notions of sci-fi and reality. Whether it's an upcoming global threat or a shady experiment by mercenary institutions, symbiotes can easily crawl across the face of this planet, each time with terrifying new qualities and aims. Before I go, here's a little tip. The next time you see Venom or Carnage wreaking havoc, wonder what great cosmic doom is approaching. Ciao! I'll see you in the next one. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks everyone.